Hi guys, welcome back. So in this lesson we're going to be layering up the lead with a couple of other leads to thicken it up a little bit, and we're going to be adding in another couple of extra samples to make our drop a little bit more funky. So let's get on with it. I'm going to load another instance of Vital. As we've already shown you how to make some of the Vital presets, I'm not going to show you how to make these next few Vital presets in these first few lessons. I will, at the end of the course, devote a few lessons to going through all the patches that we make and showing you exactly how to make the Vital presets. But for quickness and getting on with the song, I'm going to load up my presets that I've made earlier. And I've said it before, but all the presets are in the work files or under the video. So you want BTP EDM lead. And we'll just copy down the riff. This is going to sit behind the main lead. Let's just have a listen to this. Now this sound is actually what was originally intended for the build-up melody, and I still do use it for that. So let's say like over here somewhere, I'm not sure exactly where yet, but roughly about here, we're going to have this melody on its own. It's all going to be nice and filtered down. So for example, we're going to automate this cutoff here. So that's going to be automated. And we're going to have a nice pad behind it as well, but that's in the sort of build-up melody section. That's what I call it. But we're also going to use it over here as a thickener. So let's just put these two together and see how they work together. They should work together. Okay, it's too loud at the moment, so we'll just bring the volume right down and we'll blend it in. So you can hear how it thickens it out. So this is the riff on its own, and then I'll bring in the extra one. Yeah, nice and punchy and bright now, and that is cutting through a lot better. So I'm just call that the lead melody layer, and let's put that in the mix. So what we need to do now is probably bring them two down a little bit. So let's just highlight the two by pressing Control, and we'll bring them down a touch together. And let's put them together as well so they appear together in the mixer. Get that volume right again. One more check. Yeah, sounds pretty good. So let's get the second layer in. Repeat the process. Vital. This one's called lead layer, although it is a lower layer. Maybe you should have been a bit more specific, but never mind. Lead layer. So we'll copy the MIDI down again, and this sounds like this. Just bring down the volume. That might need to go up an octave. Let's just see how it sits. Yeah, just highlight all up an octave. Do it again, we'll put the volume right down, blend it in. Keep it nice and neat, so we know what they're called. Lead layer low. So this is going to be for the second half actually. So the drop part 2, we'll just bring that back and we will duplicate the whole lot and then just get rid of the first one. So you'll hear the lower one coming in the second half of the drop. You could also try bringing that attack out a little bit again, because some of the EDM tracks have the kind of sidechain effect on the lead, where you get the sort of delayed initial hit, a bit like what we did with the drop bass, if you remember, when the attack is sort of slowed down a little bit. We could try the same thing on the lead layer low. Let's just solo the lead layer low for starters. You've got to just try these things. There's only one way to find out whether it works or not, and that's to try it. So let's blend that in, see what's happening with it. Maybe a bit much. Yeah, quite like that effect. I think that lead layer might be a touch too loud. Let's just get rid of it for the moment. It's just a little bit overpowering, that lead layer. We want the riff to be the main focus, so I've toned it down a little bit. So at the end of this section, I want a little noise in here, so beat 16. And then I want a noise in there. What? It's going to be some kind of a synth noise. I think this actually needs to be over here. Thinking about it. This is going to be part 1. Let's just quickly get the arrangement track in here. It's good for me teaching you. You can see where we are in the arrangement. Nothing more than a visual reference. It also helps me as well. So drop part 1 and drop part 2. 8 bars each. So we need a sound in here. And that's going to be synth effects 1. So let's drop that in somewhere and then we'll get it lined up. So it's going to be something like that. We need to probably take out the bass at this point. Maybe take out these last two here. You always want to make space for your little sounds. It also provides interest, taking out the kick and the bass every now and again, and maybe some hi-hats or whatever else you have going on here. Take out the bass. Sorry, that was the synth before I took out. Just be a bit much taking out. Let's have a listen with one more bass note in there. Yeah, that sounds about right to me. So that's the volume about right. Let's get some effects on that. Some reverb. We don't need to worry about EQing it because it's not trying to fight against the kick or the bass. So we don't need to take out the low end. Might just be a touch too loud still. So it's best to get all the volumes and that as best you can correctly now, rather than leaving the whole lot to the mixing lessons. Obviously there will be mixing lessons, but if you can mix as you go, which is why I constantly play back the loop, which possibly may be a bit annoying, but I like to get the volumes correct as best I can at this stage. Yeah, so that sounds really good. And we're going to bring one more sound in towards the end of drop part 1, and that is a bass hit. Again, when you're actually making this track first time around, I'm trying many different effects. I didn't just suddenly go to synth effects 1 and it just worked. It's tricky for us. If we showed you all the attempts that we made, the tutorial would go on forever. So you have to just take your time, try many different effects, get rid of all the ones that don't work, and eventually you'll find an effect sound that just works. For example, this one here, and the one we're about to bring in. Just wanted to make that clear. So bass hit 25. That one, which we're going to need to pitch down. I can hear already that that's not the right pitch, but it is the sound that I ended up using. So this is going to go on bar 82. Bring that down. I know it's going to be wrong, but let's just play it anyway. So again, we need to take out some things here to make way for it. So let's get the pitch right. That sounds awful at the moment. So we can highlight it and go to transpose. It's just a matter of trial and error. So that's sounded too low, so let's just do -4 instead of -5. That sounds about right. I think we need to get rid of these synths as well at this point. So I'll put my cursor in as a marker. Let's just try getting rid of the last 3 notes. And we'll have a drum fill in there as well for bar 82.5. So again, we need to bring the volume down. We need to do our usual reverb. We need to put a bit of space behind these things, otherwise they just sound really out of place. Okay, it's a bit much. Okay, that'll sound right with a drum fill in there and some other like whooshy effects and that kind of thing. So you can see we're taking shape here by adding all these nice effects and things like that. We've got loads more effects to go in. In the next lesson, we're going to start working on drop part 2 and adding in some extra vocal samples and things like that. But hopefully you can see how we're building this track. We're still early on the drop and we're still only about halfway through building the drop. We've got all the melody to come, the build up, big kind of snare rolls and the big whooshes to build right up to this drop. We've got the intro, we've got the outro, we've got the breakdown section. We've got loads and loads to do here, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So guys, I'll see you in the next one where we'll continue building this drop, adding interest by adding more samples in and increasing the energy all the time to make this a banging track. See you then guys, bye bye.